Welcome back to another Crypto Gorilla interview. Today, I have the pleasure of interviewing Shan, the founder of PGGroup, Jirasan, Redacted, iAgent, a ton of products. We're going to talk about everything. First of all, Shan, welcome to the show. Appreciate you doing this.
Hey, super glad to be here. One of the OG crypto NFT YouTubers. So definitely glad to be here.
Appreciate it. Yeah, let's just jump right into it. So the first product, or I guess suite of products I wanted to talk about is Redacted. Now, my first question is Redacted the real name?
Yes, it is. So in short,
Yeah,
do you
okay.
want me to? Okay.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say because it's like a lot of projects use redacted to remove their name. So whenever I hear redacted, I'm always wondering, is that the real name or is it going to be replaced with something?
Yeah, because I
Um,
think we didn't try to make it memeish, but it actually corresponds to what the brand is. Anything and everything,
mhm.
hidden at the same time, but it's that we're not like defined to a chain. We're not defined to a specific sector of products. We are driven by revenue generating products that's needed for the space. So redacted seemed apt for it, so that we when our sector is infra, yes, perfect, but it can be anything, right? That's the aim behind it.
So I guess that leads into a great question. A lot of I think also because of the name redacted, maybe some people have a little confusion on what it is. They think, oh, it's going to be a product reveal, but it's actually a multitude of products. So maybe you could dive in to let us know what all the products are that have been revealed so far and kind of how they all come back to redacted.
Yeah, amazing. So I think, the basic concept of redacted, I think, if I explain it, it's going to be a little bit more easier, for people. So basically, like, there are some products and projects that are focused on memes and meme as a narrative. It's great. It's amazing. It has its own, set of audience. They have their own pros and cons. But what we noticed is two things, right? Two things are guaranteed in crypto or any investments. Is number one, the cycles, the meta, and whatever that keeps changing. And I mean, these are the two main things, right? The meta and the cycles. So what happens, what have we noticed is when the cycle keeps changing, the meta keeps changing from AI to gaming to infra, NFTs and whatnot. It keeps shifting. And second thing is cycles, right? Like this, whether you believe in the 4-year cycle or not, you see some dips, you see some crazy dips as well. With the tokens. So how do we combat it, or at least give our best to combat it, right? So that's where the redacted concept evolved from. What if it is not a single sector bound token? What if it's a series of products, no matter what the sector is, right? From an AI agent perspective, we were one of the first, well before AI agents became wild with iAgent. I think you probably some of them are aware of it. Then cross chain swaps, so DeFi, crypto banking, trading bots, to anything, right, from A to Z. So what happens is, tomorrow, whatever happens to the space, whichever direction it's going to go towards for that particular, let's say, season, we will have a product to cover it. And how this all ties up is the revenue share and the percentage that we own from these products vary anywhere from like 25% all the way up to 100%. Right, so we fully acquired these products, or at least own like 25% of revenue in most cases, like RampX, for example, all the way up to 100%, like products like Swiper, Magically, and whatnot. So what happens now is we get the revenue from these products, and in return, a redacted token, one single token, will get all the benefits from token syncs into all these platforms and products that we launch. Number two is token drops from all these products as well for staking redacted. So we don't need to necessarily not just go outside the redacted ecosystem to try and get some token drops for our stakers and whatnot, while we already have an ecosystem of products that the stakers can earn. Apart from that, we are growing, right? We currently have like 17 products already under redacted ecosystem, and we had almost 300 plus applications when we announced the redacted fund. encouraging people to apply and come in. So we are picking, like probably 3 to 4 a month. We have slowed down because of our TGE coming up, but especially after the TGE, a lot more focus is going to go on that. Our aim is to hit like 60 products at least by end of 2025 or early 2026. Ambitious, but not impossible.
So how does the revenues you say come back into the Redacted token? Is that going to be by buybacks and burns, or how is that?
Buybacks and burns. Yeah, it's going to buybacks and burns from all these products. So you can stake the token. These are the 3 things you can do with the token, right? Stake, earn, use. So stake, for example, you're just getting your APYs, and you're going to get your token drops from other things. Earn is basically your you can pretty much like lock it in certain dApps, and you can earn tokens from them specifically. For example, RampX is one example, iAgent is another example. And then use, this is the most important part, and the token sinks. As you use our tokens for, let's say, getting fee discounts, increasing your referral bonuses, cashbacks, etc. across these dApps. We believe a lot of them, anyways, they're using some dApps. And imagine if you say, for example, in a trading bot, you're currently maybe, I don't know, you're paying like 0.8, 0.9% fees. But what if you hold like $5,000 worth of Redacted, for example, and get like $5,000 worth of fee deducted, right? At the very least for every month, for instance, right? So things like that, where there is also value for using the tokens, subscriptions in certain platforms and certain features, payments within Jirasan ecosystem, iAgent ecosystem, and a bunch of other products. Stake, earn, and use is going to be the 3 major ones that we're going with.
Let's talk about Jirasan a little bit. I know the Jirasans are getting an airdrop for Redacted. It's something that's already been confirmed. I believe I saw in an interview you said the minimum that they're getting is 10%.
That's right.
Yeah, which, I mean, if that would be huge. If they hit a 300 million, if Redacted hits a 300 mil FDV, that literally pays for the cost of one Jirasan right now. And that's not counting all the additional airdrops they're going to get, which we're going to talk about in a second. Let's say somebody they missed the airdrop, whatever, they just buy a Jirasan. Are they still going to get any benefits in all these platforms and Redacted?
Yeah, so how we are trying to do this is, right, because a lot of the projects, I mean, it's learning from the mistakes of previous projects and also their positives. So what happens usually is let's say the airdrop comes down to like 0.6 ETH, for instance, on day one, right? Like or 0.3 ETH on day one, however you want to, whatever the math is. Usually the NFT floor slips down to the same flow price, right? Mm-hmm. You start at 1 ETH and then it goes to like 0.7. It's pretty much been the same situation. Like even Pudgy Penguins, to an extent, they're back to like 17 or 18 ETH, that's pre-Pengu drop. There's always this expectations of, people think the first few, they think that they're going to make the most money by making this move. So for us, what we have tried to work out is, something a bit different. I'm not sure if any other projects has done, so I'm not going to claim that we are the first or whatnot. What we are working out is basically have a predefined set of points that NFTs earn per day. And there's going to be a predefined set of points the tokens are going to earn per day, right? After the first airdrop, right? So the first airdrop is not the only airdrop that I can confirm with Redacted. Second thing is we're not going with a daily linear vesting, so it's going to be much better than what people expect on day one. It's not going to be like 5% day one, and then you have a 18-month linear. I'm not for it. Like, it doesn't make sense. We are going to give the power to the community. So the percentages, what is getting unlocked on day one, and how many more airdrops to expect is something that we'll discuss. That we'll be announcing later. But I can tell you that it's going to be a decent number, more than what people have done their moon math with, in terms of at least unlocks. So then what's going to happen is every month or every bi-weekly, we are going to recalculate how much points potentially the NFTs are going to earn with respect to the tokens. So this way, what we are doing is we are not linking a token value behind those NFTs on a daily basis, what's going to come out and what's not going to come out, but we are unifying the system into one, right? So you stake your Redacted, great, you're going to earn X points. You stake one Jirasan, you're going to earn the same X points. Like what is that ratio is something we will adjust if needed, or we'll fix it, whatnot. So it could be dynamic, it could be fixed. But then if you hold both, you're going to get multiplier. So what can you do with these points? You can burn these points for tokens. You can burn these points for pre-sale accesses to our ecosystem products and certain specific ones that people are really looking for. Investments that are possibly not available outside or within our ecosystem, like how we brought in like few of the very, very how do I say, like RampX, we got it at a crazy valuation for PG holders. Super Oracles, we got it at a crazy valuation. Same thing with Valeria Games, we got it at no other community got anywhere close to it. So tokens, if and only if that they're going to give us an exclusive deal in return for us to work with them on marketing, in return for us to connect them to VCs, invest personally as well. I've invested in more than like maybe 150 projects, average of 25 to 50K, plus I've connected with a bunch of people for every product we work with. So there is some value coming out from us as well. I was one of the earliest ones in AlphaBot and stuff like that, right? So bring that value back. And all the advisory tokens that have ever been offered is all going towards Redacted. So one of them I can say is Revolving Games. Revolving Games is pretty decently hyped. They have like a decent flow. That is already confirmed for Redacted stakers. So that I haven't made that public yet. Stuff like that. Previously, we airdrop Lingo coins and we airdrop Dark Machine and all those things without making any noise. Like 600 plus holders got Dark Machine worth $100 to $150 each. Lingo coins, S World, all these token drops were available for the holders. All this is going to move towards our single portal, including whitelist pots, right? So whitelist tokens, RWAs, whatever kind of like major stuff input that we have created so far and creating is all going to go towards, and it's going to be based on the points that people have. So these points are for staking Redacted and Jirasan only. Thereby, Jirasan will be an extension of the Redacted ecosystem rather than being like one-time airdrop, it's done, and then there's no stress for us to constantly worry about giving more and more and more tokens, but more like, hey, you have these points, it's unified, and then now you can decide where you want to spend your points on, whitelist, or you want to spend it on tokens or pre-sale IDOs and whatnot.
Got you. Yeah, a ton of value. You said you didn't really try to make noise with that. Why not?
Because I think expectations, right? Like I'm happy, like for doing nothing, I would be happy to get like $100, $200 worth of tokens, right? But the problem is, if I'm going to make a noise about it, that almost 1,000 people got S World, each worth about $300, $400 at the current prices and peak, and stuff. And same thing with Lingo coins, right? 700 mil FDV and 15% unlock on day one. We almost like 10 to 12 coins were dropped for holders in the last 6 months. Almost everybody had a chance. They just had to fill a form or comment under my post. This is literally what I did. Problem is when you airdrop people like $100, they're like, bro, I just got $100. I'm like, for 10 seconds, it's $100 and it adds up. And our flow was nothing, right? For 0.25, 0.3 ETH flow. And I told my community, like, hey guys, just think about it. Our flow was low. And I was able to work out all these deals with multi-farm, right? That was one of our products. And that's the reason why we got all these tokens. How we work out is, hey, we put X percentage of tokens in multi-farm. People farm this follow, likes, retweets, and all those things, which is needed for exchanges. And I also work out a percentage of tokens from our holders. So we're not just being like, give me tokens. I'm like, give me tokens, but I'll give you tech, right? I'll give you, certain connections. I'll give you certain marketing materials. I rally my community to follow you guys or retweet a couple of your posts and stuff, right? Why not making noise is because of this monetary thing not being, people not feeling happy. Getting $100 or a $50 or a $200 free drop, and they expect like thousands of dollars, for which we need to reach the pudgy level, right? Like we can't sit at a 1 ETH flow, 0.3 ETH flow back then and expect like $3,000 drop from other communities. But now as the floor is going up, a lot of products are now reaching out to us. I don't know if I can reveal, there's an Animoca backed project that's super hyped. It's raised a big ton of money, and now they're offering there's another NFT marketplace space. I think you might know they've confirmed drop for us. There's another NFT marketplace as well. Again, pretty decently hyped, coming on Abstract, and they already exist in other chains. They have offered tokens for us. So all these I've not even revealed or posted it out, because I'm like, what is, if I pump the flow beyond expectations because people are unhappy with the $100 or a $200 from all these things, I'm going to get into a mess. They're like, oh, I got, what's the point, right? But versus I'd be like, okay, you held, here's the token, $100 or $200, you'll be happy. It is what it is.
So just real quick, how do people qualify for these airdrops? They just have to hold, or is it going to be with the staking?
So it's going to be with the points. So as you see, pretty much like Mon protocol, but not exactly too, right? So you're where with Stakeland, for example, you get a booster, if I'm not mistaken, for your NFTs, but your NFT on its own does not earn any stakes, right? From my memory, if I'm not mistaken. But with our model, NFTs will earn points. Tokens will also earn points, but if you hold both with certain tiers, or as it is, you get a booster, right? For one, like a bonus booster, right? So with these points, you can do whatever you want, from whitelists to tokens to IDO participations and whatnot.
Is the staking live right now?
No. Right now, we left it as an open market move, because we don't want to confuse people. We don't want people to think like they're late. Because I don't know. I want to hear your thoughts on this, right? There's a debate that you have to reward early buyers and OGs and all those things more than people that just buy the NFT now, right? My thought process was, you got in at 0.25 ETH when we minted as an OG or whatnot, and you have a 3 or a 3.5 to 4x growth in flow price. Someone else is coming in and buying at like a 0.8, 0.9 ETH, which is like 3.5x more than where let's say the minters of Jirasan got in for example. Why shouldn't the rewards be the same? Was the argument we had, which is why we never had staking. But yeah, just to hear your thoughts. I mean, if you differ, or what's your thoughts on that and stuff?
I could see both arguments, but I guess the easiest comparison right now is looking at Pudgies versus Azuki. Pudgies just gave the airdrop to everybody, no matter what you had, and it played out really well. We're seeing Azuki struggle right now because they're doing this whole collector score, and I think people are just scared to dive in because they're like, okay, I haven't built up my score. They don't even want to play the game, so they're struggling. So I think rewarding just everybody is probably the better bet.
Yeah, just for reducing the confusion. But if I'm not mistaken, with Azuki as such, isn't the collector score the same if you buy an NFT or something?
Yeah, but I think people are just
panicking.
Yeah, that there's like this whole confusion around snapshot, and it's based on like the elements that you hold. I guess like a fire elemental and fire being. It's like really for collectors who hold a lot.
If you check my public wallet, Shan96.eth right now, I bought the top of Azuki for this week. I bought it at 14.5. So I mean, I didn't know, because Zagabon picked up a Jirasan, and I promised I'm going to pick Azuki in the comments. So I just bought one. I didn't tweet about it, but I think I picked the Pico top.
He needed to buy 14 Jirasans here to make that even.
It was a bad deal, but no, I'm just
should have got an elemental.
Yeah, he's an amazing guy. Met him in Singapore in person for the first time last year. We had a lunch, but great things coming.
I hope so, dude. I hope so, for NFTs in general. And then, so for Redacted, do we know a date, or is there a timeline for when the token is coming?
Yeah, 100%. I think I told this 90% in Jan and 100% in Q1. It's just a couple of things I'm not able to share full details about. The coordination with exchanges are a pain, because there's a couple of tokens lined up, and and things like that with certain exchanges. So we have to either forego certain exchanges and just move forward, or just give it a little more time to see if we can find a date that's suitable. Most likely 90% we are looking at Feb, just after Chinese New Year, but we're not going to go beyond that. Like, we don't want to wait too long, and I think there's been enough, even for the team side, it's a little bit of mental fatigue. So we don't, and we haven't even started the marketing yet, in the sense, not our side of marketing, the marketing that to bring in different regions, right? Korea, Japan, and the Middle East and South America and stuff. So we have our things settled and set up. After discussing with, we've been on a bunch of calls with, of course, Julio and like, Lingo Coins and all the successful, projects and, tier one projects that have launched tokens, to just get to know which are the marketing groups they had, or KOLs, not just agencies, right? Like, and what did they do with their market making, which market makers they used and stuff. So I think we are following a pretty similar playbook to most of these successful token drops, with respect to, this thing. Only difference is our unlock on day one is probably going to be more than most of the tokens, right? Like the float it's not going to be a low float, high FTV model. It's going to be a decent float. It's not going to be like, it's not going to be like crazy, but at the same time, like it's not going to be like Pengu or Anime, but it's not going to be low. It's not going to be like 10-12%. It's going to be much more than that on a day one float. So we are trying to achieve an optimal market cap and, an optimal FTV instead of just a high float, low float, high FTV model. So yeah, 99%, I think it's going to be in Feb.
99% in Feb. Okay.
Yes.
No pressure to answer this. Do you have a dream FTV in mind for for where it settles?
Yeah, I think, I think there's a usual conception, right? Like, because I'm sharing this because of a lot of info that I've collected and whatnot. Usually what happens is the projects let the token dunk a little bit, to get all the jeets out, as they say, and they then start, moving the charts up after a few days, right? And logically makes sense, because if a token launches straight up a billion FTV, and if you want to, if the market makers are going to kick in supply liquidity at those levels, it gets drained instantly, right? It pretty much just gets drained instantly. So my dream target is to hit a bill FDV, like, at the start. But I think it has to be strategic, to allow. There's going to be a little bit of sell pressure. There's going to be a little bit of people that are going to hold. We are hoping there's more people holding than dumping, at least from our investors' side. The major investors, the majority of them have committed to not go and dump and then, like, be with us with the long run, because most of the people that have invested are people that I've built personal relationships with for ages, right? Like founders, like Julio, imaginary ones, and all those kind of stuff, where I hold their NFTs, I hold their tokens, we stake it, and Ray and Memeland have invested as well, Spartan and Polygon Ventures, Sandeep. The investment amounts are peanuts for most of those people, 50K, 100K, 200K and stuff. So we went on a call, we explained the vision. So we have a commitment from a bunch of them that they're not even looking at getting out. So this allows us to, possibly have a pretty decent run, I would hope. But yeah, my dream FTV is a bill FTV. I know it's not a market cap. Eventually my end goal in crypto, at least I would say the first real goal is to achieve a 1 billion market cap, with all our products combined. We did it in a way with certain products already, with the valuations and stuff. But hitting a 1 bill market cap is my main dream. But at least for starters, a 1 bill FTV is something I'll cherish for sure.
Hey, 1 bill. I think the Jirasan holders would be very happy with that.
I know. I don't want to. This is not to push the hopium. This is purely. Just because people see it and they're like, Shan's going to make it a billion. I hope so. I hope all the market conditions align. You need a little bit of luck, but I can assure you guys something, that we are not going to dump tokens. We have supply. We're going to supply a bunch of liquidity, and also we are using market making. We're using a retainer model for market makers, so they will not have access to our tokens. Plus, with the exchanges, we have heavily kind of like convinced them not to take token payments, so that there is no sell pressure from the token from the exchanges also. And certain exchanges that requested like a big chunk of tokens, we have rejected. Like we felt that you can have you don't need a massive exchange just with a huge token. Except Binance, I think any other exchange, I don't see the need to give away a huge chunk of tokens and get caught with, because it's destroyed the projects.
And then you've mentioned other products. So I don't think these ones are under Redacted. So there's two. There's iAgent, and then there's RampX. Maybe could you run us through what each of those are, and then we'll discuss their own tokens. So
Yeah.
iAgent first.
Sure. So these products are also under Redacted, meaning it's
Okay.
part of Redacted ecosystem. So we have
But they have their own token.
yeah. See, all the products under Redacted most likely will have their own tokens, right? So, but you will get it as a Redacted staker. Essentially, that's the main
Okay.
link there. But how the tokens will sustain even after they launch their own token is our percentage of revenue, right? So let's say we have 25% in RampX and let's say 50% in iAgent. Even if iAgent drops their own token and they have their own specific use cases, our share of revenue will be coming towards Redacted and Redacted use cases and Redacted token burns and stuff, if that makes sense. So iAgent is a project by our PG's co-founder, Jamie. I think I'm not a gamer personally, but Jamie was a professional gamer. I think Counter-Strike back in the day from Canada. I don't know. He told me that he was ranked number 2 in North America or something at one point. So he was a crazy gamer. So iAgent is a project that's been under works for almost 2 years now, right? Well before agents became, or AI agents became the norm or the trend. So this is based on it's a gaming agent that people can create, rent it out, buy, etc. So basically, imagine and I think he's got partnerships with almost like 10 plus top gaming teams. So what you can do is, I think for example, I think I've heard his name, Loda. I think he's one of the biggest I think League of Legends player or something. But for example, how this would work is Loda would, just with the video, right, of Loda's gameplay, an agent would be created and he could monetize it, where you can play against it. You can ask questions to it. Sometimes it can even be a question that personally Loda can answer. For example, if there is a specific request, for instance, like signed autograph, or like a real one-on-one challenge instead of against his agent and things like that, you can bid for it, and if he accepts it, then there's a real match between a real player, or else you can play with his agent, right? Like where it kind of like tracks and follows the whole logic of how he plays usually. Like so one of the demonstrations they did last year in KL blockchain a week, I think they demonstrated an AI versus AI showdown. I think between I can't remember whether it was Team Secret or one of them and another like a gaming team, and it showed the logic behind why it did each of these moves. So just like how AI XPT there's a logic behind its answers, with iAgent, all the moves, why the agent is doing those moves, why is it very accurate to somebody like Loda, for example, is stored in the backend. So it's a very comprehensive agent marketplace slash buying, renting, creating your own agents, and also like combat with your favorite gamers from around the world. So that's a little bit on the agent. As I said, I'm not a gamer, so I don't know the in-depth of it, but I think this is the gist of it. When it comes to RampX, I'm heavily involved almost from day one. I know the founder from Melbourne from way before. RampX is one app I'm super excited to bring it to space, because it just came from this thought process, right? I've missed so many moves in crypto because of bridging, and because of bridging back and forth. Because I want to keep my portfolio nice and neat. I want to know what's my total holdings. I don't want to spread like $1,000 or $5,000 liquidity across 40 chains. Like, there's a coin called Hippo that comes on Sui network. I want to buy, but many times I don't buy because I have to go to Simple Swap or dBridge, then go and like get gas fees first. And then I have to go and then swap the tokens, in Sui network or whatnot. But with RampX, right, it just came from that idea that what if you can buy anything and everything? Okay, that's the clue there, right? Anything, right? Not just tokens, with any crypto that you have in your wallet, right? Without even needing the gas fees for that particular chain, and everything on chain as well, right? So this is a process called gas abstraction. So you can swap like WIF from on Solana to Brett on Base without even having Sol in your wallet, or without having ETH on Base. And how does it happen is because we we supply the gas for all these all these contracts, which is pretty cheap and like whatnot. We take the fees, we take the gas through through our fees. So this way you don't need to go and get DM someone, send me some tokens on Supra, send me some tokens on Base. It auto allows you to swap even low market cap coins. So some of you are using Photon or whatever trading bots, for example. You all are trading with Sol, but there's an inherent risk of Sol going up and down, or you don't want to hold Sol, but you want to buy some Solana tokens, low market caps, pump fund tokens, whatnot. RampX allows you to buy low FTV tokens as well, low market cap. We tested even for 100 under 500k, for instance, with a very minimal slippage. It has its own RPC nodes and stuff, so it allows you to hold your tokens and maybe in USDC, and allows you to buy a Sol token under like 5 seconds in most of the cases, right, without having the need to hold it in like the native tokens. This is one feature of RampX. We are also introducing something called as parcels. So now you can send money to anybody in the world, even if they don't have a crypto wallet, even if they don't have a RampX account. They will receive, say, 100 USDC or 100 Sol or 1 Sol or whatnot in the term called parcel, right? You can send it to their email or whatnot, right? So now all they got to do is create a RampX account, and they can claim the money and off ramp it to their bank accounts as well. So that's where the RampX, the term, even derives. So app so easy that anybody can use, including your mom, dad, grandmom, granddad, is the idea behind RampX, irrespective of what the chain is.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Going back to the first use of RampX, what do the fees look like if I'm swapping between? I guess you guys are taking a percentage of my swap.
Yes. So currently it's like at 0.1 to 0.2% of fees. But what we are looking to do is a dynamic fee model, meaning it's going to depend on your market cap. It's going to depend. There's going to be a range, right? So it depends on market cap. It's going to depend on your size. We don't want to charge like heavy percentages. Currently we are the cheapest, right, compared to all the other cross-chain bridges currently in the market. But what we want to do is we don't want to charge like a huge percentage like Uniswap, for example. Like I feel 0.25% is ridiculous for what Uniswap is offering. And even if I'm doing $1 million swap and I'm losing 0.25 straight up, like for what? The tech is the same. Why the heck should I lose so much in in fees, right? And same thing with MetaMask, where it charges like 0.85%, which I feel is ridiculous. A lot of bots are charging like 0.8 to 1%. Again, that's also like stupid. So what we're going to work on is a dynamic model that's going to vary based on the market cap, the size, what you're going to swap with. So it can vary anything from as little as 0.05 for like some heavy swaps from ETH to BTC and things like that, because we don't want you to pay so much, plus your gas fees, whatever. So 0.05% plus gas fees, and as high as maximum of like 0.25. 0.25 is a cutoff for very ultra low market cap tokens and stuff where there's high demand, and there has to be like node usage and stuff like that. So it is going to range from 0.05 to 0.25.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, it's crazy that we've just accepted we pay Pump Fund and all these tools like 1% fees, and they're cooking. Yeah. Then my other question there was, you mentioned low market cap coins. So do you guys have brand new, like I saw Melania at 500 mil, which isn't a low market cap, but it was brand new. I tried 3 bots. None of them were going through. And then I realized, okay, I needed USDC, not SOL, to buy. Were you able to buy a coin like Melania quickly on? Okay.
So I think we even made a tweet about it, because RampX operates on a non-native token basis. So it pretty much always is existing in USDC. So it allows it to go through the best bridge possible, or best swap possible. Because imagine this, right? You go to Radium and you're going to have Sol in your balance, and you click Sol to Melania, for example, and it doesn't allow you to buy because, say, a Sol didn't work. What RampX does is it's USDC based. The backend pretty much is USDC across all the chains. Not USDC, like USD based. So what happens now is it's going to do the same Radium swap, but it's going to do with the best possible token, because it is not just restricted to Solana or restricted to ETH as the native swap token, right? So it's based on USD. So when you're going to put a request all it does is in the backend takes your token, sells it to USDC. We are working on USDC, and on the other side of the chain, it's just going to buy with USDC through whatever route is the best possible. The only risk with RampX is if and only if USDC itself is going to get stuck for whatever reason, or it's locked or banned or whatnot. But we are positive that's not going to happen because everything operates with USDC, DYDX, hyperliquid, probably the most regulated stable coin out in the market. So that's why we chose USDC. So we were able to buy Trump, we were able to buy Melania as well, because it is not your typical bot. It does not go through its the bot based RPC nodes, nor it goes through Sol.
So anybody right now can use RampX?
So RampX right now is in closed beta. So almost like I think 250 users have been onboarded. We have a bunch of investors on RampX as well, from Beanie, G Money, I think Base 16Z, Brian Jung, and a few other people. We haven't even announced that publicly yet, but I think by the time the video is going to be out, I think those info should be out by then. So I'm sharing here. So the aim is to get all the possible suggestions, bugs, everything cleared out, and most likely in probably a week or so, I think near the Chinese New Year, we are targeting to make it go live for like an open beta kind of like a model. But for now, I think it's been like a back and forth with few users testing their feedbacks and whatnot. But it's been really good so far. Last 3-4 days, I don't think we had any bugs. So which is great. So I think we can now move to the next stage.
I would love to try it out if I can get in the beta access. So when is the RampX token? And then we'll jump back to iAgent. When is the RampX token scheduled? Do you have like an estimate when it's launching?
At least 2 to 3 months away.
Okay.
Right.
And then back to I was going to go to iAgent. So you were going to say it's not.
I don't know. It's not going to happen like this quarter for RampX token as such. So it's going to be after Redacted launch.
Got you. And then iAgent, you mentioned a use case. The way I saw it, I mean, there's a few use cases, but one, like if you're a professional team and you want to practice against an opponent, there's no way you could do that. But now you can just take all of their tournament footage, all of their streaming footage, because all these people stream, and you're able to build your opponent's team and practice strategy. Right. And then even the AI can tell you like, hey, you should be doing this against this move, and it improves your own moves as well. So I think there's a lot of use cases here.
I know. I know I wouldn't make justice talking about iAgent. Every other product I'm in depth, but I'm not a gamer, so I've not been very much into it. Like I haven't been like pestering Jamie, but we need to have a chat with Jamie because the guy is passionate as fuck, and and getting all the thing what you mentioned about like training against, right? That's exactly what's happening. He signed with Gaming Gladiators. And also Aether Cloud. I think they've given all the cloud computing along with Gaiman. And one of the things they requested from him, if I'm not mistaken, was to get their players to train against the agents of other, esports teams. So that's definitely, that's definitely one of those things. It's in-depth study of how your opponents operate and how do you tackle it.
So you mentioned, even though they have their own tokens, they're all under Redacted. So Redacted is going to benefit from this. Jirasans are also getting an airdrop, but that's going to be, do they get like a straight up airdrop? And then there's also the point system, or is it purely point system based on your staking of Redacted and Jirasans?
Yeah, very honestly, at this moment, we haven't finalized that part. One way or the other, we may combine the pool, because we had a separate pool for Jirasan and a separate pool for the RDAC stakers. But then the more we think about it, it kind of makes sense to keep things simpler than like trying to segregate and separate. It's going to be some of the times certain projects are also going to give some inputs, like they want something to go to NFT holders. Why? Because they want to attract the NFT audience or NFT base and stuff. So we may have a separate like a NFT gated points opportunity within the portal as well, right? So where you're going to use the points still to claim, but it's only accessible if you have NFTs. We were even looking at some split like a 30-70 or a 25-75 in that. But like, it's going to be a little bit of hit and trial. So we're going to try this for the first couple of months, see what kind of reception we're getting. Any minute we know that, okay, it's not working, or if we believe that we have to make some modifications, but at this moment, it's going to be only going towards the points, the combination of points, where the NFT holders are also going to get points, and stakers are also going to get points to participate. So combining the pool. But in the event, if we feel that if iAgent wants some NFT holder count or whatever, for whatever reason, then we might just do it as a separate drop.
And what's the timeline on iAgent?
iAgent is looking at Q1, probably just after Redacted. So it's going to be like one after the other, pretty much instantly. I mean, just one after the other, I would say, for token drops in that sense.
Got you. And then let's finish off on the NFTs here. Maybe a weird question for you, but I mean, do you look at the floor and do you like have a dream for the floor? I hate when founders say, "Oh, I don't care about floor." I understand when they say it because, like, look, if Jirasan's pumped to 20 ETH and then they nuke, like, what can you do? There's only so. That's one of the reasons I never launched an NFT. I don't want to be hated because the price just goes down. But at the same time, when a founder says, "I don't care about the floor price," like, dude, that's my money. Like, you should care.
Yeah.
What's your view on the floor, especially looking at other NFTs like Pudgies, which they went to 30, Azuki's are at 12, even Doodles, just hinting at a token, is at 4, and they went to 8. And you guys, I mean, you have multiple tokens coming. Everything you spoke about, it sounds like there's way more value than the current floor. So what's your view on the floor price? Like, do you stress about it? Do you think about it? Do you have a dream floor price?
Yeah. So like there's two sections to this question, right? So one is for history's sake. I can't say been there, done that, but to an extent, it's been there, right? We were at once, our total NFT market cap was 150 million. We were at a 7 ETH floor for the Gen 2s back then before the merge. We had a 25 ETH for the Genesis, like 1 ETH, or I mean, like I think about like 0.15 ETH or something for the Jira versus or Jira voxels. Jiraverse primarily, so there was once a time that we felt like NFT superstars, right? Along with projects like Kaiju Kings, Llamaverse, Cyberkongs. Almost there was nothing else that was there in the period of 6 months that had a floor. Like Kaijus were at like 4-5 ETH. Llamas were at like 6-7. We were at like 6-7. Cyberkongs babies were at like 10-12, and like Genesis at like 50 plus or whatnot. Neo Tokyo and all those Gen 2s and whatnot. So at that moment, it was a different feel, right? It feels so good. Like, you wake up every day morning and you're like, you feel like there's an army behind you, right? They just believe you and they're like, yeah, go Shan, let's go and stuff. I think for us, the OpenSea delisting screwed us up really bad. The momentum was like so good. OpenSea delisted us for some stupid ass fake DMCA back in 2022, and entirely the momentum was screwed really bad. Then when we came back, I think by then our flow of the Gen 2s had dropped to like 1.2, 1.3, if I'm not mistaken. So it was a big dump, right? Because it was, I don't know if you remember, but OpenSea delistings back then was seen as end game for NFTs. We one of the very few fought and came back, but it is what it is. So I would love if I won't be in this space if I think, or if I this is purely me personally, if I believe we can't be the number one NFT project in the space. Like, I would quit this space if I don't feel like we would be like number one someday, right? Like maybe a year, maybe 6 months, maybe 2 years or whatnot. The day I lose that, I'm not going to be here. So for me, if you ask me what's my goal, is to be the number one, which means maybe I'm going to leave CryptoPunks out of it because that's a completely different set of things, and I'm not trying to compete with CryptoPunks. That's provenance, and I hope they do maintain their number one status forever for the benefit of everybody. But for me, at the very least, to be a number one at this moment is 22 ETH, 22 ETH. So that is where I would feel like, okay, I've done something, right? But realistically, in the short term, I think it's good to be a little undervalued than overvalued. The reason is when you do a first coin drop and it does more than what people expected, the next ones are it's a self-fulfilling prophecy after that point, right? Like where and then people are going to come in masses, right? So for the first one, like I think I'm okay at where it is. Almost everyone's at like higher than where they gotten at. A new all-time high was created like last week. Even with the Trump volatility, I think we are one of the very, very few collections that didn't like dip hard like most other collections, which I'm really happy about. I thought we were going to dump below like 0.8 again, but I think there's some sort of resilience there from people and stuff. So I'm there. But ideally, I think if you ask me, in comparison with other projects, what flow I think we deserve personally as a non-founder looking from the outside, I would say at least 3 ETH. It doesn't make sense for us not to be at least at 3 ETH, considering and comparing just certain projects at what level they are at and what's the collection size, what is the potential ratio of airdrops. Somebody made this comparison, right? Like if Azuki is dropping at 1 billion FDV, for example, and they have like 50,000 NFTs in their collection, and they're giving away 35% of the tokens. For us to give 10% of the tokens for 10,000 NFTs, even at a 200 mil FDV versus an Azuki at a 1 billion FDV, the ratio is so skewed. In that sense, I'm not putting anybody down. This is purely as a comparison with respect to what NFTs we have in our ecosystem and what is the supply, and even a low FDV of 200 versus 1 billion for Azuki or whatever the actual numbers are going to be. So this is where I felt that we were definitely a lot lower than where we could be at. But yeah, long term, definitely want to, maybe the next time we do a stream, hopefully, we are somewhere closer to our goal of being the number one there.
I love it. Yeah. And I mean, you mentioned you had an army. I can tell you still do. Whenever I post videos and I mention like 10 projects, I know there's going to be a ton of Jirasan holders in the comments,
Yes.
just like spamming Jirasan. So you have it. Listen, Shan, I appreciate you taking the time to come answer all my questions and being super open about it. A lot of people say like, no to all my questions. And you're just like, yeah, let's roll. So I really appreciate it. Any final comments to the audience?
No, I think, if you're a builder, creator, or an investor, I think Jirasan is going to be your, hub. I would say, like, I don't know what's the direction a lot of them are taking. We are not necessarily an IP based, although, we are exploring few options, but I don't want to sell the dream of IP, at least, for now. But other than that, from a builder standpoint and investor standpoint, I think there's not many communities or NFT collections that are focused towards that. Especially if you're looking to create a product and you need a supportive community, you need funds, you need, whatever, like, connections with KOLs and whatever that's needed. I think Jirasan is the place. So I think, just have a look at us, see what we do, and looking forward to having a bunch of new holders as well.
I love it, dude. Appreciate it. Here, I'll let you go here. I'm going to close up the video. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll definitely do this again, maybe in a couple months. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, smash that bell notification. See you in the next one. I messed up my outro. Peace.